You're just boring, Matthew. That's the truth. That was the sentence that finally silenced the therapist's ticking clock. Not the confessions, not the tears, not even the time she admitted she no longer felt excited by the idea of coming home. No, it was that one word. Boring. She said it with a shrug, like she was ordering coffee. My wife of 6 years, legs crossed in soft cream trousers, fingers folded neatly on her lap, eyes locked on the carpet. I remember staring at her hands, the same hands I used to kiss when she had bad days at work, the same ones that used to tremble when she said she couldn't believe how lucky she was to have me. Now they looked bored too. Matthew, how does that make you feel? Dr. Bowen asked, his tone measured. I laughed. Not loud. Just enough that the therapist's pen paused mid-stroke. I guess I didn't realize I'd become wallpaper. Marissa didn't flinch. If anything, her mouth curled into the faintest smile, the kind you give when a point finally lands. Like she wanted me to hear it. To really hear it. The drive home was quiet. We passed the Mexican place we used to go every Thursday, the one she said gave her indigestion now. Past the bookstore she used to drag me into. Past the turn we'd take to see her mother. She hadn't called in weeks. I pulled into the garage, and she went straight upstairs. No kiss. No thanks for driving. Just silence and the click of the bedroom door. But I didn't follow her. I sat there in the car, engine ticking down, and pulled out my phone. I'd saved the voicemails. 3 of them. Slurred words, giggles, one of them interrupted by moaning. All left between 2 o'clock and 3 a.m. The weekend she said she was visiting an old college friend in Chicago. His name was Marcus. I only knew because she forgot to delete a text preview once. A name I didn't recognize, tucked between Spotify notifications and a coupon from CVS. I didn't play the messages right away. I just saved them. Like you might a photo of someone you used to love when you're not sure if you still do. That night, I slept on the couch. Marissa didn't ask why. She didn't ask anything anymore. Let me take you back 6 months. That's when the first crack showed. Not in her, but in me. It was a Wednesday night. I was reheating leftovers when I heard her laugh from upstairs. Not just a laugh. That kind of deep, teenage giggle she used to save for movie nights and inside jokes. I paused, spoon midair, and listened. Stop it, she whispered. You're awful. A pause. Then more laughter. Her voice was lower now. Softer. The kind of voice you use when you think no one else is around. I stood at the bottom of the stairs like an idiot, spoon dripping sauce onto the tile, trying to believe she was watching a funny video. Or on the phone with a friend. Or anything other than what I knew in my gut. She came down 20 minutes later, wrapped in one of my old college sweatshirts. Kissed my cheek. Said, smells good. And I just smiled. Because I wasn't ready to ask. Not yet. But that night, after she fell asleep, I checked her phone. No password change. Not even a fingerprint lock. Almost like she wanted to get caught. Marcus. A thread going back weeks. Some mundane. Others more colorful. The last message read, next weekend can't come fast enough. I need your hands on me again. I didn't scream. Didn't shake her awake. I just took screenshots. Emailed them to myself. Sat in the bathroom until sunrise with my face in my palms, wondering how the hell we got here. She started therapy 2 weeks after that. Suggested it, actually. I think we need help, she said over coffee. We've drifted. I remember thinking how polished that sounded. Like a script. Like something you say to make yourself the hero of your own betrayal. But I agreed. I always agreed. Our sessions began awkward, civil. She talked about how I checked out emotionally after the pandemic. About how we'd stopped doing new things. She used words like stagnant and routine. Said she needed more passion, more adventure. She didn't say Marcus. I didn't say the voicemails. 3 weeks in, Dr. Bowen asked us to share what we admired about each other. I said I admired her courage. Her ability to chase what she wanted, even when it scared her. She said she admired how stable I was. That I was a good man. It sounded like a eulogy. That was the night I recorded her voicemails onto a flash drive. Bought a cheap voice recorder too, the kind reporters used back in college. I didn't know why I did it. Maybe part of me wanted a way out. A moment. A line. It came 2 weeks later. She wore red that day. Tight. Silky. The kind of dress she hadn't worn for me in years. We were supposed to talk about boundaries. Communication. But somewhere in the middle of Dr. Bowen's question about intimacy, she cut in with, I've tried, Matthew. But you don't make me feel anything anymore. I need someone with fire. Not structure. And there it was again. Boring. like I was a spreadsheet, a calendar notification, a middle manager in her rom-com where the real hero waits outside on a motorcycle. I reached into my pocket, wrapped my fingers around the recorder. My thumb brushed the switch. I didn't play it then, but I knew I would, soon, because I wasn't boring. I was patient, and patience, unlike passion, leaves scars. It was a Thursday when I finally stopped caring what the therapist thought of me. Marissa and I sat across from each other, the beige couch under me suddenly feeling more like a witness stand. Dr. Bowen had asked us to do an exercise. Speak to your partner as if it's the last time you'll ever be in the same room. A test. Vulnerability, honesty, maybe some tears. Marissa crossed her legs, smoothed the hem of her red skirt, and turned toward me. I think you're a good man, Matthew. But I don't think you see me anymore. I'm not who I was 6 years ago. I nodded. I was used to that line now. But, she continued, if I'm being honest, I think maybe we should have just stayed friends. I don't think we're right for each other anymore. I want a life that feels alive. I don't want to feel stuck. I waited, counted the seconds between her sentences. She looked at me like she expected me to cry, or at least beg. Instead, I said, you're right. We're not the same. She softened. Maybe she thought we were finally getting somewhere, that I was finally surrendering. Then I reached into my pocket and set the recorder on the coffee table. Small, silver, quiet. What's that? Dr. Bowen asked, a bit of hesitation in his voice. I looked at Marissa, not at her hands this time, at her eyes. Something I've been holding on to, I said, because I wanted to be fair. I wanted to give her the space to say it herself. But since she won't, Marissa's face changed. Not immediately. First her smile faltered. Then her lips parted just slightly. Her eyes didn't move, but I could feel the calculation happening in real time. I hit play. The first message crackled, static, then her voice. Marcus, I shouldn't be calling you, but I miss your arms. God, what we did last night. I still feel it. You know what I loved most? That you made me feel again. Like I'm actually alive. Not like with click. I paused it. Dr. Bowen looked between us, slowly setting his pen down. Marissa stared at the recorder like it had grown teeth. I cleared my throat. There are 2 more. Matthew, she said, her voice low, suddenly shaking. What is this? You're spying on me? I wasn't spying, I said. I was listening. The same way you stopped doing months ago. Dr. Bowen raised a hand. Maybe we should slow down. No, I said, still calm. I think this is the most honest moment we've had in this room. Marissa's jaw tightened. You ambushed me. I looked at her, not angry, not triumphant, just tired. I came to these sessions hoping we could fix things, hoping that whatever was wrong could be talked through. But I wasn't the only one who checked out, was I? She didn't answer. The second voicemail played. More giggles. Her whispering something about the way he tasted. A slurred promise to leave me soon. Laughter. Then a click. She reached for the recorder. I let her, but I could tell her hands were shaking. You had no right, she hissed. You had no right, I echoed. To sit here and call me boring while sneaking out hotel rooms with someone you didn't even bother to delete from your recent calls. Dr. Bowen was silent. Maybe he'd seen this kind of thing before. Maybe not like this. Marissa stood. This isn't therapy anymore. No, I said. It's clarity. We drove home in silence. Again. Except this time, the silence wasn't awkward. It was electric. She didn't go upstairs when we got in. She poured herself a glass of wine, stared out the kitchen window like she might find her next excuse floating in the dark. I was going to tell you, she said. I nodded. Sure. I didn't want to hurt you. I actually smiled at that. A short, sharp exhale through my nose. You didn't want to be the villain. She turned, glass in hand. I was unhappy, Matthew. For a long time. So you decided I deserved to be humiliated instead. I needed something more. Then why not leave? Her eyes shimmered. I could see the tears now. Real or performative, I couldn't tell. Didn't care. Because I was scared. Of starting over. Of being alone. I kept thinking maybe you'd change. Into who? I asked. Marcus. She didn't answer. That night, I didn't sleep on the couch. She did. I locked the bedroom door and sat on the edge of our bed. Not crying, not thinking, just breathing. For the first time in months, I felt like my lungs weren't wrapped in rope. I wasn't boring. I was silent. There's a difference. And she was finally starting to understand that. 3 days passed. We didn't speak. Not really. We circled each other in the house like ghosts. polite when necessary, invisible when possible. She moved her things into the guest room. I stopped wearing my ring. She didn't ask for it back. The therapy sessions ended, of course. Dr. Bowen called once, left a voicemail, said he hoped we'd continue our journeys of clarity, whether together or apart. I didn't save that one, but I did save hers. Not the drunk ones. Not the ones full of Marcus and slurred regrets. No, this one came on a Sunday night, a week after she moved out. It was quiet, no background noise. Her voice was clear, almost too calm. "Hey," she said. "I know I shouldn't be calling, but I've been thinking about what you said, about how I didn't want to be the villain. I think you were right." A pause. You could hear her exhale. "I spent so long blaming you for my own restlessness, telling myself that your steadiness was the problem, that your reliability, your predictability, all the things I used to admire, had somehow become the enemy. But really, I just stopped showing up." She swallowed. I could hear it. "You were never boring, Matthew. You were just there. And I stopped seeing the miracle of that." Click. That was it. No apology. No request. Just the sound of a woman realizing the ship she'd abandoned had kept sailing without her. I didn't call her back. Some part of me wanted to, not to fix things, but to tell her I believed her, that I knew she wasn't evil, just weak, just afraid. Like I had been, too. But healing doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it's just letting the scar form without picking at it. I mailed the divorce papers a week later. She signed them. No lawyers. No screaming. No fight over furniture or accounts. We split clean, the way two people do when they've both already emotionally left months earlier. Marcus didn't last. I heard through a mutual friend, one of those "you didn't hear it from me" kinds of texts, that he blocked her a month after the divorce. Turns out, affairs don't have much staying power in daylight. She moved back in with her sister for a while. Tried to rebrand as a wellness coach on Instagram. The kind that posts about healing and self-love while quietly disabling comments. As for me, I didn't fall apart. I didn't download dating apps or start lifting weights or post cryptic quotes about loyalty. I just kept living. I went back to the bookstore she used to hate. I adopted a dog. I started running again, not from anything, just for the air. And some nights, I still think about her. Not with anger. Not even with pain, really. Just a kind of quiet observation. Like looking at an old photograph and realizing the smile you're wearing wasn't real. People ask sometimes how I stayed so calm. How I didn't scream in that therapist's office or throw something when I found out. And the truth is, I wanted to. I wanted to rage. I wanted to beg her to explain herself, to rip the truth from her lips. But there's something worse than rage. It's being told you're boring by the person who once called you home. It's being betrayed by someone who still sleeps in your sheets and pretends not to notice the crack running through every dinner conversation. That's what broke me. Not the cheating. Not the voicemails. It was how effortless her betrayal was. But here's what I've learned. The quiet ones, the steady, the reliable, the boring, we don't always react loud. We don't set fires. We wait. We gather truth like coals in our palm, and when we move, it's surgical. Playing those voicemails wasn't revenge. It was a mirror, and for the first time in a long time, she had to look at herself without the flattering light of denial. She flinched, not because I hurt her, but because I finally stopped protecting her from herself. And me? I'm not boring. I'm just done being the background music in someone else's chaos. Let them call that whatever they want. I call it freedom.